Take a look at our starting grid across the top of your screen, and you notice the two non-winners in that top 10, Kelly Byers and Steve Wallace, that Dale talked about just a few moments ago. You saw Carl Edwards starting in the 4th position. You heard him earlier saying send your questions in to the mailbag. Well, let's find out, as he is our in-race reporter. Then he wants to do another backflip here at Bristol. DJ?
Carl, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
Hey, Carl, since you promoted that, someone writing in about a question for you with our mailbag, Heath in Harrisonburg, Virginia, asked, how concerned are you about the recent changes made to the track? How does it affect your driving?
Well, I'm looking at the track right now. That's a good question, Keith. You know, it's got rubber built up about halfway up it, and it just did that in the last part of the Cup practice. So I think this track's going to change a lot during the day. This tire's a little different. But overall, the surface is so smooth, it seems like you can run 2, maybe 3 wide, and we have yet to see people run the top. So I think there's going to be a lot of things happen because of this new surface.
Carl, my question for you, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I say the word probation. We're here at Bristol. How does that affect your thinking and your driving as you try to win this race today?
Well, I had to have my meeting with my probation officer earlier. That went well, Mr. Helton. And I think after we had that meeting, everything was good. And I just got to go out here and do the best I can, focus on racing, and not get you know, pulled into all the extra stuff that goes around it. And, I think that's the hardest part for me sometimes. And today I'll get to try that. Just try to stay focused.
All right, man. Put on a great show for us. Looking forward to it. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Drew Blickensturfer.
Hey, Drew, Andy Peacher in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Drew, Goodyear brought a little bit different combination of tire here. How's that going to affect the race today, and how did it hold up in practice?
Tire wear was excellent. People ran really fast times late in practice. In fact, we ran real fast times late in practice. So I think you'll run it like you do a lot of short tracks here, especially at Bristol in the Nationwide Series. You try to come pit road as few times as possible so you can keep that track position.
Drew, we see that track blackening up, just like Carl said, and he said it's going to change the track. What is it going to do, actually? What are you going to have to do to your car?
Well, you expect it to probably get tighter. You know, the black race tracks of years past would get tighter, and with the sun beating on it like this, you would think it would. But, you know, as the race ends, it'll be shaded down in 1 and 2, so you have to keep that in mind, too, not to free it up too much so you're not too loose at the end.
Okay, Drew, good luck today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, Andy.
And the cars have rolled out on the first of their 4 pace laps, and it gives us a chance to talk about pit procedure because it is a tricky layout here at this half-mile oval. Andy?
Yeah, it is. This is one of those racetracks. It's unique. It has 2 pit roads. It has one on the back stretch and one on the front stretch. And in an effort to make it equal, under caution only, these cars will actually enter the pit road on the back stretch and treat this like one pit road. Even if you're pitting on the front stretch, you will come all the way around here and pit and drive all the way around through both pit roads and back to your pit stall. And if you're pitting on the back stretch, you still have to drive all the way around here and exit on this side. Now, under green and green flag only, you can enter your respective pit road off the racetrack. You can come in the front stretch right here and you can exit right here. So that makes you spend less time on pit road, and you can do the same thing on the back stretch. Under green, that'll save guys time. This is a system they've had in place for quite a few years, and it works great.
All right, thanks for the explanation, and we'll sort of detail that as it occurs during the race. Let's get the final update from pit road. Jamie Little, you're up.
Well, Marty, the last 9 races here has seen 9 different winners. So who will be the new face, perhaps, in victory lane at the end of today's race? How about Joey Logano? You guys talked about him. This 19-year-old is having a great weekend already. Qualified this car on the front row this morning. Yesterday, qualified his Cup car on the pole for tomorrow's race for the first time in his career. Last time he was in the car, remember, at California, dominated, led 130 laps before spinning at the finish. This team is hungry for a win. Dave?
Jamie, Kelly Byers has sat out most of the 2010 season. Think about it. Dale Jr. drove this car at Daytona. Then 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas, a lap 5 wreck, and he didn't get hardly any laps at all. The one bright spot was Fontana. He hopes today, and as well as it's starting here at Bristol, he qualified 3rd. Dr. Punch?
Ask yourself, what does it really take for a young driver to get their first win on the high banks at Bristol? Well, you got to be aggressive, you got to have a good car, and you can't be afraid to use it. That's a perfect description for 22-year-old Stephen Wallace. Now, Wallace picked up his first pole here 2 years ago. His famous father, Rusty, got his first and 50th Cup wins here on the high banks at Bristol. If Stephen were to pull it off today, expect an emotional family reunion in Victory Lane. Vince.
Well, Doc, last season's Rookie of the Year, Justin Allgaier, has been nothing short of amazing here at Bristol and adapting to the nuances of this tricky racetrack. He was 5th here in March, had a good run in August, and he has been among the fastest here all weekend. But Allgaier will have to come from deep in the field if he's to score his first win here today. He'll start 30th after a loose car in qualifying. They say patience is one of Allgaier's strengths. Well, he'll need plenty of it today, Marty.
All right, thanks, guys. The broadcast available in Spanish. All you have to do is activate your SAP button. It's presented by ESPN Deportes. No cars going to the rear. We can tell you those that did not qualify: Dennis Setzer, Mark Green, Scott Riggs, Jason Bowles, Brad Teague, Parker Kligerman, and Chris Lawson. So as we get ready to go green here at Bristol, let's reset this stage. And also, I guess we almost have a drag race. The pole sitter, Brad Keselowski, decided to do a last-minute lane change. He's gone to the outside.
That's right. Fastest qualifier gets lane choice even in NASCAR. And you see that he has chosen that outside lane, and we'll see how it works out.
And look who's behind him. Just happens to be that 60 car.
Yeah, that might have been 2 different reasons Brad decided to do that. He might have saw something in Cup practice that made him think about this, but he knows that the guy behind him is probably not going to run into him anytime soon here.
Well, let's...
See you guys, y'all look good over there. Appreciate race cars this awesome. Are a lot of fun to drive, and it's a lot of fun to work with you guys. Thank you. Let's have a good day today.
Well, and one of the things we talked about was the fact that the groove seemed to be working its way higher. You heard Carl even mention that that could be developing as the race progresses.
Yeah, let's not forget, this is that new tire that Goodyear developed to put rubber down on the racetrack. Kind of did it for Indianapolis, but it's worked good at other tracks. We see now that the sun's come out, it has started to take rubber, and it's going to affect the race today.
Well, and the other thing we should point out, all concrete surface does not have the same kind of effect when heat gets on it as an asphalt.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be chasing this today. You heard Drew Blichendorf talking about how they were going to have to chase, make adjustments, and chase this right to the very end.
43 cars. Did we squeeze them on to the world's fastest half-mile racetrack, and we are about to go green once again at Bristol Motor Speedway. Don't forget, pit road speed is just 30 miles an hour. You don't want to get busted because it will cost you a lot. And we have just been told NASCAR is going to add another lap of caution, but don't know the exact reason why. Oh, they're trying to correct the pit road speed. In other words, they're trying to adjust the tax.
Well, it's hard for these cars to get a good reading on their tachometer. They have to use that to judge their speed on pit road. NASCAR does a really good job of running that pace car at a consistent speed so they can get that. But when you got 43 cars on this little track, it's kind of hard to keep that speed consistent through the field.
Yeah, if you're not up in those first 3 or 4 rows, it makes it very difficult. If the guys won't keep up and stay right on the bumper, then you're not getting a true reading. And we've seen a lot of races already this year be affected by that pit road speed.
Yeah, the other thing the drivers are trying to do is get those tires warmed up, get them ready to go here, and that kind of affects the guy behind them when they're trying to get a pit road speed.
Hey, we've got just a moment. Want to remind you quickly, don't go anywhere except over to ESPN2 at 5:30 because we'll have the showdown of our Legends race, and that will be live over on ESPN2.
That's going to be fun.
Dale Yarborough, David Pearson, loving that. So that's more before or after we put 300 laps in the books here at Bristol Motor Speedway.